Yeah, Arthur Morgan ruined my life. And no, I'm not exaggerating. When he died, I was devastated. Devastated for 2 whole days. I know it sounds crazy to be this messed up over a video game character, but Arthur wasn't just pixels on a screen. He was real. That line? It hit me like a ton of bricks. I tried to forget him, to move on, but he lingered like a ghost, a friend I lost too soon. Today, I'm diving deep into how this outlaw's life and death changed me forever, and in a way that no other game ever has. There's something about Arthur that made him feel like a living, breathing person. It wasn't just his rugged charm or the way he handled a revolver, it was his complexity. Every gesture, every line of dialogue, every regretful sigh made him seem so human. I remember sitting through a long cutscene, completely absorbed as I saw him struggle with his past and question his future. It wasn't the typical macho outlaw swagger, it was vulnerability. He wasn't just your archetypal hero, he was flawed, conflicted, and real. When I flipped through his journal, it felt like I was reading someone's private diary. His sketches, his reflections, they were raw and unfiltered. For a moment, I wasn't just playing a game, I was in his shoes, feeling his sorrow, his hopes, and his loneliness. That admission, that simple, honest confession, it was a turning point for me. I wasn't just witnessing a character's journey, I was feeling the weight of his humanity. Then came the moment that shattered everything. Arthur's death. I still remember that scene vividly. One minute I was riding alongside him, feeling an unspoken bond, and the next, it was over. When I saw him take his last breath, I felt like I'd lost a dear friend. For 2 agonizing days, I couldn't do anything but replay that final scene in my head. I was in denial, trying to convince myself it was just a game. But every time I closed my eyes, Arthur was there, haunting me like a memory I couldn't shake. I tried everything to numb the pain. I switched off the TV, avoided every game console, and even stepped outside, hoping the fresh air would wash away the despair. Nothing worked. It was as if his spirit had seeped into my very soul, leaving a void that no amount of distraction could fill. It wasn't just about losing a character, it was losing a part of myself. I had laughed with him, cried with him, and now in his absence, everything felt empty. I even joked with friends saying, "I'm still mourning my best friend Arthur." And deep down I wasn't lying. After those 2 soul-crushing days, I thought I'd finally be able to move on. I tried picking up other games, even ones I used to love, but nothing ever hit the same. Even now, months later, the void Arthur left hasn't entirely gone away, but I've learned to live with it. It's a bittersweet reminder of how deeply we can connect with art and how these connections shape who we are. Every new protagonist seemed flat, every storyline lacked that raw edge. I'd catch myself thinking, where's Arthur? Where's that spark? And no matter how many hours I played, nothing filled the void he left behind. I even joked around with some friends. I'm on a strict Arthur Morgan-only diet. Nothing else satisfies me. It was my way of coping, a humorous nod to the fact that nothing else mattered as much as his story did. Let's talk about the moments that made Arthur unforgettable. I've replayed these scenes countless times, each one carving its mark on my heart. There's the scene where, after a particularly brutal day, Arthur confesses, "I guess I'm afraid." It wasn't just a statement, it was a window into his soul, a reminder that even the toughest among us have fears. Then there's the camaraderie with Hosea. In one conversation, Hosea tells him, "We're all just trying to find a little peace in a chaotic world." It resonated with me, showing that amidst all the violence and loss, there was a shared yearning for something more. And of course, his final moments, that quiet, resigned acceptance as he whispered, "We can't change what's done, we can only move on." It wasn't just about the inevitability of fate, it was a reminder that every choice, every mistake, leaves a mark. These aren't just lines from a script, they're pieces of a story that felt as real as any life I've ever known. And that's why every time I hear them, I'm transported back to those moments, feeling the weight of every emotion all over again. Arthur Morgan's story made me reflect on the evolution of narrative gaming. It's not just about playing through levels or defeating enemies, it's about immersing yourself in a world that feels as real as your own life. With Red Dead Redemption 2, Rockstar showed us that games can be art. Emotionally complex, morally ambiguous, and profoundly human. It made me appreciate the craftsmanship behind every cutscene, every dialogue, and every small detail that brought Arthur to life. I began to notice how other games tried to emulate that same raw emotion, but often fell short. They were missing that spark, the subtle interplay of light, sound, and narrative that made Arthur's world feel tangible. And that realization changed the way I approach every new game. I'm not just playing for entertainment anymore. I'm seeking that deep, immersive experience that touches the soul. It wasn't just nostalgia, it was the reality that Arthur changed my perspective on storytelling. Every narrative felt lacking, like it was missing that genuine spark of humanity that only Arthur could ignite. Believe it or not, Arthur didn't just change how I viewed games, he changed how I view life. His struggles, his redemption, and even his failures made me think about my own choices and the weight they carry. I started looking at everyday moments differently. The quiet sunrise on a chilly morning, a simple conversation with a friend, even the feeling of regret after a mistake. Arthur taught me that every moment is precious, and that our flaws make us human. And one more thing he taught me, and that is, revenge is fool's game. It's funny, losing someone you never met can make you appreciate the people who are still in your life a little more. Arthur's story reminded me that it's okay to be vulnerable, to feel deeply, and to embrace the imperfections that make us who we are. Arthur's impact isn't confined to my experience alone. Across the globe, fans have come together, sharing their own tributes and stories about how he changed their lives. His legacy is proof of the power of storytelling, a shared emotional journey that unites us all. Seeing fan art, heartfelt letters, and community tributes reminded me that while Arthur may be a character in a game, his influence is very real. So here's the truth. Arthur Morgan ruined my life in the best possible way. He shattered my expectations, made me confront my emotions, and showed me that even in a world of outlaws and chaos, there's a beauty in raw, unfiltered humanity. If you've ever felt that a game or a character touched you on a level you never expected, you know exactly what I mean. I'd love to hear your stories. If Arthur, or any other character, ever made you feel this deeply, drop a comment below, and let's talk about it. Remember, sometimes it's those fictional moments that remind us of our very real lives. Thanks for coming on this emotional ride with me. If you enjoyed this video, or if you've ever felt the crushing loss of a character who felt like a friend, hit that like button, subscribe for more stories, and share your own experiences in the comments below. And hey, if you need someone to talk to about your favorite video game moments, you know where to find me. Rest in peace, Arthur Morgan. You may have ruined my life, but you made it worth living.